Do Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower teach that you should shun your family? Yes. Here's proof. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, K Fits My Life. I wanted to do a video about this topic, and I know it's been out for a fairly long time. This topic about shunning. One of the most prevalent comments that I get in the comment section, especially about the video that I made about Dr. Phil and some of the other videos I made about Jehovah's Witnesses teachings, is that Jehovah's Witnesses don't teach shunning. A lot of the comments that I get are from people who say, we don't teach that you should shun. Or they'll also say this, they'll say, you're free to leave whenever you want. You don't have to be a Jehovah's Witness. It's not like we're keeping you there. You can go whenever you want. Well, I disagree with both those statements. And I'm going to show a few clips from the 2016 District Convention. It was called Remain Loyal to Jehovah. And there was a dramatization that they made, a video that they made about shunning. And this video pretty much sums up the Watchtower's view on shunning. And it flat out says that you should shun your family. It doesn't say it in those words, but it depicts the way the Watchtower thinks you should treat someone who doesn't believe the same thing you believe, or who does not want to be a Jehovah's Witness, or just wants to walk away from the religion. This video will show you exactly how the Watchtower feels you should deal with that person, all right? So I'm gonna chop it up into just a few clips, and I'm not gonna go in chronological order or the order in which the video is actually played out. I wanna comment on a few different things, so I'm gonna play it in a weird order, but it'll make sense. So let's look at this first clip. And this clip is showing a daughter being kicked out of her house because she no longer wants to be a Jehovah's Witness. So people who say, you know, we don't shun, I would like you to watch this video and tell me that the Watchtower doesn't condone the shunning practice, all right? So here we go. Here's the first clip.
Later, my father explained to me that I couldn't remain in the home because I refused to change my lifestyle. He told me I was having a negative effect on my younger brother and sister. Then I'm out of this house. I was determined to do what I wanted. When I left home that day, all I could think about was Eric. I didn't even care that my parents' hearts were breaking. I didn't think about the devastation and disappointment that I had caused them. I blamed my parents for my situation. I even blamed Jehovah.
All right, so in this clip, we see the Watchtower depicting a family where the father tells the daughter, since you don't believe the way we believe anymore, since you don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, you have to get out of here, right? So she gets kicked out of the house, and understandably she's upset. I mean, I have a daughter, and I could imagine if I were to just kick my daughter out of the house, yeah, she's gonna be pissed. So they try to depict things in a way that makes the person who's the victim seem like an irrational person. But this is a totally rational reaction to being kicked out of the house for nothing more than what? Well, you notice she said, all I could think about was Eric. Well, this young lady fell in love with a guy, okay? Perfectly understandable thing that happens to everybody. I mean, my first crush was on a girl when I was about, 12, 13 years old. Like my first real crush. I had my first girlfriend when I was like 14 or 15 or something like that. But it's a natural part of life, and it's really surprising to me how the Watchtower tries to demonize things that are just natural things that happen in life. Now, this young lady, of course, only fell in love, but I want you to pay attention to something else. I want you to pay attention to her appearance. And this is something I didn't notice the first time I watched this video, but it's a propaganda technique that the Watchtower is using. I'm not going to say anything about it, but until the end, but I want you to pay attention to this girl's appearance. Now I'm going to go back a little bit so you can see who Eric is and what happened in the situation with Eric. All right. So we're bringing it back. Rewind. Here we go.
I thought maybe things would improve after I graduated high school. But then at my new job, I met Eric. He truly understood me. He made me feel special. And I loved him. I loved him.
Now, here's a technique that is used by controlling organizations. I don't want to use the word cult because by definition, pretty much every religion is a cult. The difference is you have to decide whether the cult breeds positive results or negative results. The definition of the word cult is just basically a group of people who believe in the same divinity or deity of a being or have the same belief system. So that's pretty much every religion. So one thing about a negative effect cult is that they limit your association. Now, there's nothing wrong with falling in love with a person. You know, if this woman fell in love with a guy, there's nothing wrong with that. But in the Jehovah's Witnesses organization, what's wrong with it is that you can only choose people who are within the organization. You can't fall in love with someone who's not a Jehovah's Witness, right? Because they don't think the same way. They are worldly. And who knows, they may tell you something that may steer you away from the controlling mindset of the organization. So it's not like this girl went out and committed murder or blew up a building or did something crazy. All she did was fall in love with a guy, right? So let's continue. Let's see what happens. And again, make sure you notice the way she looked in this last clip and in the next clip. All right, let's go to the next one.
In many ways, I felt free. For the first time in my life, I could just do what I wanted.
Now, wanting to make your own choices is part of adulthood. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be free to make your own choices. I think the example of a good parent is raising a child that is able to make their own choices. You can't have a child that's 18, 19, 21, 22 years old, and they're still relying on you to make all their life decisions. If that's the case, that means you are an absolute failure as a parent. At some point, your children have to be able to leave you and feel confident enough to make their own choices. That's just life. So this is basically saying, oh, being free to make your own choices is not a good thing. The Watchtower wants you to not be free to think, to not be free to make your own choices. You have to follow along their guidelines. And the thing is, the things that they teach, as I've proven in some of my other videos, don't even directly coincide with the Bible. And I'm not even someone who believes the Bible implicitly. To me, the Bible is like Aesop's fables. There are some great things about it, but it doesn't mean it's real. And the difference between the Bible and Aesop's fables is that Aesop's fables don't separate families. They don't cause war. They don't cause slavery. They don't cause demeaning of women. They don't cause, all these wars. But anyway, their teachings don't even directly coincide with the Bible. So it's almost like, well, not almost, they're basically saying you're not free to make your own choices and live your own life. You need to rely upon us because we know what's best for you. And if you stray away from us, well, you'll see what happens.
It wasn't long before our relationship became intimate. I felt guilt at first. But after a while, it just seemed that this is what two people who love each other do. And I was willing to give up everything for him. Everything.
Now, this is a very weird thing for me because I know that the Bible says sex without marriage is wrong. Whether you believe that or not is up to you. But I know for a fact, almost anytime you see somebody on, or someone or even some TV show or anything like that, whenever you see someone try to sit down and explain sex to somebody, to a young child or a younger person, what's the first thing they always say? Well, when two people love each other, yada, 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 right? So it's so weird to me that they would use this terminology, but then spin it in a way to where it's a negative thing. Well, we love each other. We know that when two people love each other, they have sex, but I feel guilty about that. That's the thing, especially in this country, I feel like we've all been trained to think of our bodies in this really bad way and think of exploring our bodies in this really bad way. Part of youth is figuring out who you are and what you like and what you want to do with your life and who you want to be with. The thing with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they don't have the freedom to explore who they are in relation to a person of the opposite sex. You don't have the opportunity to have sex with somebody before you marry them. You don't have the opportunity to really be with somebody. You don't have the opportunity to live with somebody because that's wrong. You are basically a person that you see somebody, you're interested in them, and then you basically just have to talk until you get married. It's like, okay, I don't know anything about this person sexually. I've never been able to live with this person to see if their habits are something that I can live with. I don't know if we're compatible sexually. All I know is I like him and I'm a Jehovah's Witness, so I have to wait until after I've already gotten married to figure out all this other stuff. But I can't get a divorce based on this stuff. I just have to deal with it, because if I get divorced and there's no scriptural grounds for divorce, then I'm just stuck with them, because if I divorce them, well, I can't get married again, and I probably will get shunned. So it is a breeding ground for people to have negative experiences with other people, and it's a breeding ground for mental disorders, sexual disorders, depression. I knew tons of Jehovah's Witnesses who had issues with everything. And it's also a breeding ground for people to just get married so they can have some sex. And I know that it probably sounds weird to other people, but that is true. I knew so many people who got married just because they were horny. And that is the worst thing that you can do. And it also breeds people getting married too young. That was me. Because you want to experience sex with somebody. You want to experience being intimate. You want to experience having a real girlfriend that you're not going to marry 3 months later. So being a Jehovah's Witness comes with a lot of issues. And this just highlights one of the issues where they demonize having a relationship, a common relationship that almost everybody on the planet has when they're a young person. They make it seem like it's a bad thing. So let's just see what happens to her as a result of this innocent relationship.
They loved me and wanted me to come back to Jehovah. I tried to contact them. I just wanted to talk and to hear their voice. I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me. But they knew that if they had associated with me, even a little, just to check on me, that small dose of association might have satisfied me. It could have made me think that there was no need to return to Jehovah.
There you have it. The Watchtower just told you that if someone leaves the Jehovah's Witnesses, and even if it's your daughter, and if they call you and you pick your phone up and you see that your daughter is calling you and you haven't seen or talked to your daughter in years, that you should look at the phone, acknowledge that it is your child that's calling you, and put the phone down. I really don't see how any Jehovah's Witness watching this video can debate that the Watchtower is not telling you to shun your family. They just made a visual representation of everything every ex-Jehovah's Witness has been saying. They are showing you that if your child does not think the same way you think, that you have to shun them. And it's a great example of the reason when people say you can leave if you want to. This is a prime example of why that's not true, because this video shows how they use shunning in two ways. One, they use it as a tool to keep people from leaving the organization, because who wants to leave the organization and lose your entire family? Nobody wants to do that. So they can say all day, you can leave if you want, but it's not like you're leaving without consequence. See, a positive organization that realizes that people have free thinking and allows free thinking would be set up in a way that if you want to leave the organization, you could leave without negative consequence. If everybody, like me, I'm a member of Planet Fitness. If when you left Planet Fitness, you had to pay $10,000, but they didn't tell you that up front. And then once you left Planet Fitness, you found out, wait a minute, I have to pay $10,000 to leave this place. Once one person told another person about that, Planet Fitness would shut down. Why? Because that is a negative consequence of being a member of an organization. So that would probably end up being illegal, because you wouldn't want to have a negative consequence associated with being a member of an organization. But the Watchtower has devised this amazing scheme of being able to say, okay, you can leave whenever you want, but they've intertwined themselves to make people think that they are one with the Bible. So yes, you can leave whenever you want, but the Bible says if you leave this organization, you have to lose your family. Even though the Bible doesn't say that if you leave the Watchtower organization, you have to lose your family. It doesn't say that anywhere. And I think a major thing that people get confused, especially current Jehovah's Witnesses, is that they equate leaving the Watchtower organization with leaving God. And they're not the same thing. And the fact that they equate the two shows that they have been indoctrinated to think that the Watchtower's interpretation equals God's interpretation. And that is where the negative cultism is expressed in that organization, right? And then the second thing is they use it as a tool, shunning, to get people who have left to come back. Because if you've left and you want to have time with your family, but you can't, well, what's the easiest way to get contact with your family? Well, if I go back to the organization, then I'll have contact with my family again. Now, whether or not people go back because they have a genuine love for Jehovah, or they want to have contact with their families again, is debatable. It may be one, it may be the other, it may be both. But the fact of the matter is, it is a definite technique that is used to bring people back who have left the organization. And that is another negative side effect of a negative cult. You can't use someone's family as leverage to get them back into the organization and say that the organization extends you the right to leave whenever you want. Those two things don't go hand in hand. And another thing that I commented on, or I noticed about the video, is the girl's appearance. When she was a member of the organization, she was bright and colorful, and her appearance she was pretty and everything was perfect. But then when she left the organization, if you notice, she had bags under her eyes. Her color was all washed out. She didn't look the same. So it's a technique that the Watchtower uses to make people think that once you leave the organization, your life is going to be crap. And that's not true. They never show people being happy that have left the organization. And that is the point of my channel. I want people to see that just because you've left the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower does not mean that your life will be crap. You may lose your family, you may lose your friends, but in the long run, if someone is only showing you love because you think exactly like them, is that the type of person you want to be in your life anyway? It wasn't for me, because I found out that living a lie in the truth was not worth it. It was much worse for me to live a lie masked as truth. Because once you find out that the truth is a lie, you can no longer live in the truth, holding on to that lie. It's impossible. And it's hell. It is literally hell to try to live that double life once you know the truth is a lie. Once your eyes have been open to it, you can't close them. You can't just go there and be okay. Once you know, it's different. And the Watchtower tries to make people think that having that knowledge that the truth is a lie is going to make your life horrible. And it's not true. I want people to know that once you leave the organization, it may be difficult, but you can have a happy life. The Watchtower wants people to think that their interpretation is God's word. And they have done a brilliant job in making people think that once you leave the Watchtower, that you've left Jehovah. And if you believe in Jehovah, that's fine. But leaving the Watchtower does not equate to leaving Jehovah. They are not the same thing. But the Watchtower makes people think that they are the equivalent of Jehovah's word. And it can't be true, especially since the Watchtower has stated they are not inspired by God, nor are they infallible. So you can't say that if you leave the Watchtower, you're also leaving God, because you don't know that. That's not true. So I want people to know that once you leave, if you decide to leave, your life may be hard for a while because it's a change, but you will be okay and you can have a happy life. So what do you guys think? If you are an ex-Jehovah's Witness, do you think that these clips show how the Watchtower teaches Jehovah's Witnesses to shun their families? And if you are a current Jehovah's Witness, what do you think? Do you think that these clips do not show that Watchtower teaches you all to shun their families? Can you debate that? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, click the bell so you can be updated when I upload new content. And again, if you want to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things, the links are in the description. I haven't put a lot of content on them yet, but trust me, I'm going to get started on that real soon. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right. Peace.